How could a simple money transfer expose a dangerous scam? My dad sometimes sends money back to his home country through money transfer companies. He had recently sold his small shop and wanted to send a large amount of money overseas. My brother and I were worried because my dad is not very experienced with these kinds of things, and we often help him avoid scams. We suggested using a bank transfer instead. The bank fees would have been higher, but at least the money would safely arrive. However, my dad wanted to use a money transfer company he saw advertised in a newspaper because they promised lower fees and said the money would arrive within a week. We went with him to the company's office and spoke with the employee there. We carefully asked about the fees, the transfer process, and how long it would take. The man confidently assured us everything would be fine and guaranteed the money would arrive soon. We decided to move forward with the transfer. Thankfully, we did not pay in cash. We used a debit card so there would at least be proof of payment if anything went wrong later. A few days passed, and my dad kept checking his bank account back home to see if the money had arrived. Every time he checked, we told him to stay patient because international transfers can sometimes take time. After 2 weeks, however, there was still no sign of the money. My dad called the company to ask what was happening. The employee claimed there had simply been a delay and said there was nothing to worry about. My dad trusted him and waited a little longer. Another week passed with no money. My dad called again and received yet another excuse. At first, we tried to stay calm because delays can happen, but the explanations soon started sounding suspicious. Eventually, the employee admitted something shocking. He basically said they had used my dad's money to pay another customer who had been waiting for their transfer, and that my dad would get his money once another customer came in and paid them. That was the moment we realized something was seriously wrong. We immediately became worried that the business might be collapsing or operating dishonestly. We contacted our bank to ask if there was any way to recover the payment. But because my dad had willingly authorized the transaction, there was little the bank could do. It was not considered traditional fraud under their rules. We then went directly to the company's office to confront the employee in person. We wanted to know whether he actually intended to send the money or if he was simply making excuses. Once again, he gave us empty promises and reassured us that everything would be handled soon. We decided to give him one final chance, but 2 more weeks passed and still nothing happened. This is where things finally changed. In the UK, financial businesses are heavily regulated by government authorities. Even small money transfer companies must follow strict rules. My brother works in banking, so he knew exactly which regulatory authorities to contact. He gathered all the evidence, including payment records and communication history, and submitted an official complaint explaining that the company had accepted the money, but failed to complete the transfer. The authorities reacted quickly. Within days, the company started facing serious pressure from regulators. Suddenly, the employee who had ignored us for weeks began desperately contacting my dad. Instead of us chasing him, he was now chasing us. He begged my dad to withdraw the complaint, claiming the investigation was damaging his business and could even lead to the company being shut down. He repeatedly promised he would send the money soon if we just canceled the complaint. Of course, we knew better. We understood that if we withdrew the complaint too early, it might become much harder to reopen the case later, so we refused to remove the complaint until every penny had been returned and proper compensation was paid. We also made sure every conversation went through the regulators. The employee tried calling my dad directly with emotional stories and excuses, hoping to pressure him into canceling the complaint. We reported those calls to the authorities as well. Eventually, the employee realized he had no way out. He finally paid my dad the full £20,000 he owed, along with an additional £1,500 as compensation for the stress and trouble he had caused. He also sent a formal apology letter. Only after the money safely arrived did we agree to withdraw the complaint. Later, we learned that many other people had likely experienced similar problems with this company. Most of them probably did not know how to report the business to regulators or fight back properly, which may be why the company had been getting away with this behavior for years. It felt satisfying to finally hold him accountable and show him that not everyone is an easy target.